Hello everyone, this is Mr. Tam. In today's video, we're going to go over AP Calculus BC Free Response questions 2022, question number 1. So let's get to it. So here's question number 1. In question number 1, you are being asked to do the following. From 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., the rate at which vehicle arrive at a certain toll plaza is given by A of t, where t is the number of hours after 5 a.m. and A of t is measuring in vehicles per hour. So first thing I want to point out is the following. When they give you a function that say rate, that automatically tell you that we are looking at a derivative of something. So in here, our A of t is basically the derivative of the function that defines the number of vehicles. So this is the function, and A is the derivative of that. Traffic is flowing smoothly at 5 a.m. with no vehicle waiting in line. All right, so let's see what the question asks us to do. Part A, write but do not evaluate an integral expression that gives the total number of vehicles that arrive at the toll plaza from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So this is a very classic fundamental theorem of calculus problem because you're given the derivative of the function for number of vehicles and you are now looking for a total number of vehicles. So important to understand is the following, the wording of the problem. If the question asks you the number of vehicles at time t, then your answer should be a formula, or commonly known as functions. But here the question asks you the total numbers and given you a time interval from t between two t values. So therefore this is typically going to be a definite integral problem. So what this basically telling me is that we are writing a definite integral using what I call fundamental theorem of calculus. So we can definitely get to it. So let's see A. So the problem will tell you t from 1 to 5. So that's basically what the answer is. The answer is integral from 1 to 5, A of t dt. Do not forget the dt because that's part of the integration process. And so I'm just going to write 1 to 5, 450 radical sine 0.62. Oh, I forgot the t. 62t dt. So that's my answers for part A. Now let's see what part B asks for. So part B asks for find the average value of the rate in vehicle per hours at which vehicle arrive at the toll plaza from 1 to 5. So this one is a little tricky. The problem here is that you are finding the average value. So that we call what we call the average value formula. The average value formula is given by this formula, so which is F average is equal to 1 over b minus a, integral from a to b, f of x dx. So that's the average value formula. So what we're going to basically doing is literally that, because we're looking for the average of a. So therefore, for us, in this problem, to find the average value of the rate, what we're going to do is the following. The average value of the rate is basically equal to 1 over, let's see, from 1 to 5. So 5 minus 1, integral from 1 to 5, 450 square root sine 0.62t dt. Now, because this is a calculated part of the exam, you are definitely not expected to evaluate this by hand. Most likely what you're going to be doing is use a graphing calculator to actually evaluate this. So I happen to have a calculator, so I'm going to move my calculator into my screen so I can go ahead and do this. I'm going to move it over on this side. The calculator is under math, under math, and the command that you're looking for is FNINT. That's called function integral. So we go basically integrate. I'm going to go and put, you know what, I'm going to just do the integral first. And then I can just divide it by 4. Now, one thing I do have to check to make sure is my calculator is in radian mode, which it is, so that's great. I'm going to hit enter. And I have to divide that by 4 because I have 1 over 5 minus 1. So look to me, my answer should be roughly 3.75536. So as a general rule, you want to round to 3 decimal places. Your last digit actually can be round or not round. So I'm just going to write 375.536 ... and that's my answers. I show at least 3 decimal places accurate, so I think that is good. One thing that you do want to watch out for, which I'm going to move this out of the way for now. One thing I do want to watch out for is if the question asks you to indicate units. If it does not, then you're good to go. But if it does, you probably want to make sure you identify the unit. Let's see what C asks for. So C asks for is the rate at which the vehicle arrived at the toll booth at t equal to 1 increasing or decreasing, given a reason for your answers. So because you are looking at where the rate is increasing, so here basically to paraphrase the question, you're looking for where the A of t is increasing or decreasing. So that's the question that you try to figure it out. And to determine if something is increasing or decreasing, what you want to do is simply take the derivative and see what the derivative would be, whether it's positive or negative. So here they tell you t equal to 1, so therefore what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a prime at 1. Once again, you are not expected to find this by hand. You are supposed to use your calculator for that. So I'm going to go ahead and move my calculator back in again and try to do this. So the command that you're looking for is under math again, and this time we're looking for n derive, which basically stands for n numerical derivatives. So you basically try to find the derivative numerically for a function. So here would be, I'm going to put down d over dx, and then I'm going to put in the function a, which is 450 multiplied by radical sine 0.62x, close parentheses, and then I'm going to evaluate that at x equal to 1, and look to me the answer is equal to roughly 148.947 ... This numerical value is greater than 0, therefore indicating that the derivative of a is positive at that point. So now I'm ready to write down my answers. The answer is that a of t is increasing. I'm just trying to paraphrase the wording, is increasing. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I should write this way instead of using a of t. The question did say is the rate at which the vehicles arrive at the toll booth is increasing. So I'm going to say that the rate, the rate at which vehicle arrive, at the toll plaza is increasing at 6 a.m. and mainly because the derivative of a is positive, because a prime at 1 is positive. So that will be your answer, which you provide justification. Oops, sorry. You can't see what I'm writing because of the calculator. So now there you go. So the rate at which vehicle arrive at the toll plaza is increasing at 6 a.m. because a prime of 1 is positive. So that would be your justification. Usually you get the point for the a prime at 1, and then you get 1 point for the justification. So now we can do D. A line form whenever a of t is greater than 400. The number of vehicle in line at a time for t between a and 4 is given by the numerical n of t equal to a to t, a of t minus 400 dt, where a is the time when the line first began to form. To nearest whole integer, find the greater number of vehicle in line at the toll plaza at the time of the interval from 0 to 4. Justify your answers. So this is a very typical extreme value theorem problems, because the question asks you for the greatest numbers a vehicle. That means this is a maximum, or actually absolute maximum. You are given a closed interval to work with, so that way you know that you are using what we call extreme value theorems. So to use extreme value theorem to solve this problem, I probably first have to find A first. And once I find A, then I will have to identify critical values. So let's see if we can do this. Go say D. So let me see. So first thing is that the problem did say the function n is the value that we're looking for. So basically this question asks you for n of t, the absolute maximum values. So to do that, what I need to do is to start with n of t, which is the integral from 0 to t, a of t, a of x. Yeah, because we have to, t is in the limit, so we can't use t in our integral. So a of t minus 400, a of x, that's what I meant, a of x minus 400 dx. So in order to find the absolute maximum, I do need to know the critical value and the endpoint. So the critical value, if you read the question correctly, is say the line would start to form whenever a of t is greater than 400. And just so happened that if I take the derivative n prime of t, according to fundamental theorem of calculus part 2, that would tell me that the derivative here is just equal to a of t minus 400. So if I set that equal to 0, remember, because the integral cancel out when you take the derivative of this thing. Now if I set that equal to 0, all I need to do is just find out where a of t is equal to 400. And now once again, you're not expected to find this by yourself. You should be able to just simply use your calculator to figure this out. So once again, I'm going to try to pull up my calculator and show you what you have to do. The easiest way to actually do this is usually just use your calculator and using the graph feature. So let me see if I remember correctly. The function is 450 times radical sine 0.62x close parentheses. And I do need to know where it's equal to 400, so I'm going to go and put down 400 right here. Now I'll show you a little trick. The problem did ask you to go from a to 4. We're assuming a cannot be less than 0, so I'm going to just say a to 0 to 4. And once you have the x set up, which in this type of problem you will be given the x, you can do zoom fit to let the calculator adjust the y. And voila, here's my graph. And it seemed to me that there are two intersections between these two, so I'm going to go and find them. Second trace, intersection. I'm going to move first curve, second curve. I'm going to just move the cursor closer to this one so that it will identify correctly. So it seemed to me that the first value, which I would assume that would be a, because the first time a of t is bigger than 400, is 1.4693716. I always like to write out the entire number just so that I have it. I'm going to do the same thing over again. I'm going to intersect. Let's move over to the other points and then execute the command. So look to me that, okay, here we go. I'm going to use t instead. T is equal to this and also 3.5977133. So now what I'm going to do is the following. I'll move this out of the way. So now I have my A, and I also have my critical point, and I also know that the value, the maximum t value is 4. So now all I have to do is really just form a table. I have my t values. My t value go from A, which is 1.4 blah 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 blah, 3.5977133. You know what? I am just going to write this number out. 1.4693716 and 4. So we have a critical point in the middle, and then you have the boundary from A and from A to 4. So now all I need to do is figure out what t is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set my integral. So I believe I did an integration of this function already. No, oh yeah, that didn't work. So let me just retype. So here's my integral. Okay, I'm gonna go from 1.4693716 to, okay, now if I put down 1.4693718 on top, then that will mean the integral go from the same number to the same number. That automatically gives you 0 as the integral, so I'm gonna just put that in. But next one is 3.5977133, and the function that we have is A, which is 450 multiplied by radical sine of 0.62x close parentheses. That's A, but I have the minus 400. And then I have the x as my variable. Done. So this gives me 71.2541287. And then I'm going to just redo the same thing, but I'm just going to change the top number to 4. If you don't know how to do that, you can just hit second entry, enter, to get the last entry that you type in, or you can probably just move the cursor up and just copy what you write. Okay, this gives me 62.33834594. So clearly we have a maximum right here. So now I'm going to try to answer the question. The question say, to the nearest whole number, find the maximum number of vehicle in line. So here I would say that the maximum number of vehicle in line is 71. All right, so that, oops, sorry, once again, I forgot to move this out of the way. So that would be your answer. Now notice that I do like to write my answer in complete sentences. So that way the answer is clear. As a matter of fact, they do expect you to do that. So whenever a question asks you to write or answer questions or give explanation, try to write in complete sentences, so that way it's easier for them to give you points. And then that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye bye.